Now we're recording.
Welcome everybody. We're going to be the Urban Fantasy Pitch Panel. What that basically means is we have 6 individuals up here who have decided to sacrifice themselves. They have decided to give of themselves and take the opportunity to pitch publishers and see what opportunity presents itself. So up here is going to be represented at least 3 publishers right now. We are missing one of them. So Rhett is missing at the moment. And we will come back to that. But what I'd like to do a little bit is see who's up here, let them pitch a little bit who they are, what they represent, and then we're going to go down there. So if you would like to start first, Jon.
Hi, I'm Jon Osborne. I'm with Chris Kennedy Publishing. Our urban fantasy and fantasy imprint is New Mythology Press. So I'm sitting in for Chris today because issues. But I'm looking forward to hearing pitches today.
Absolutely, we appreciate that. So the next one's going to be Kate Pittsburgh, represented by.
I'm Kate, and over the weekends, so I'm starting early. And but I'm Blake Hudson. I'm the director of Hudson Indie Inc. We cover everything from romance to urban fantasy to sci-fi, and a few little in-between things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the pitches.
Excellent. And then I'm Mike Anderle, LMBPN Publishing. You might have heard a little bit about us, but we are actually in a bunch of different genres. We're now very recently, starting to do some translations into romance as well. Those who've heard the story know that the first time I did that was no-go. So beyond that, though, we're obviously in urban fantasy and a lot of the other different genres. Since this is all about urban fantasy, then this is the one that we'll be talking about today. But within this, just recognize that as we have the 6 people that are coming up, we're going to ask them to give us their pitch. If it's beyond 90 seconds, recognize that I probably will be going like, you need to refine this right now. So we do have a hard cutoff, and I want everybody to get to it. We failed to do that last year. We had to take a couple of people off site and do it. I'd like not to do that this year. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to go left to right like I'm reading. So if you would come up here. That's right. You need to tell us who you are. And we're going to have you face a little bit to the audience so that not only you, but everyone on the video can see it as well. Please speak and enunciate loudly. Okay.
Loudly.
All right, and then I'll stand over here as one of the 3 individuals, and I'll go from there.
Great, I'm Alec Pecky. I'm a mystery author with 22 published books. My idea is Grey's Anatomy sort of meets Torchwood. It'll feature the drama of a hospital environment while contending with illnesses caused by the Fae that come through a portal in the Sierra Nevada mountains. The portal opened up due to a misadventure with dynamite by the ski patrol trying to prevent avalanches. The main protagonist will be Dr. Teresa Jones, who's baffled by some strange cases arriving in her Sacramento hospital. Strangely, she received a book, a graduation gift from an unknown sender, and it's a grimoire filled with spells and potions. It's sat in the back of her closet for over a decade. Her desire to save patients is countered by a secret covert agency that is trying to kill the Fae. The story conflict will feature a power struggle between the physician who's trying to save human and Fae lives alike while discovering her witch powers, a likable Fae leader from the portal world who's trying to contain the bad Fae and find a way to live with humans, and a covert agency that is trying to justify its existence by kills of non-humans. For them, a good Fae is a dead Fae.
Very nice, thank you. Now we get to ask you pertinent questions, some of those that we would actually ask as publishers. And so I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to be asking, how many books do you think you're planning on, and what happens if it's successful? Can it continue?
I wrote the outline for 3 books. One of my mystery series is 14 books, and I see no end to stories in this setting. So yeah, I think it could go for a long time.
All right, so and I'm going to ask each of you guys to mention the same thing. When I'm hearing you and I'm catching certain things that I like about the story, I'm also catching that you've published 22 books. Mm-hmm. So you've gone down the path.
Yes.
You know, we need to know that as publishers to find out, are we going to be adding to someone who we're going to need to be teaching? Are we going to have to be teaching professionalism? Are you going to get your book in and get your book in on time? You know, we often say here at LMBPN, it's like, look, we're going to have a contract and you better hit the date. However, you don't have to give me the closest date. If you think you're going to hit July 1st, I'm okay if you tell me September 1st. You know? So we want the wiggle room. We'll deal with the other stuff. It's just when September 1st comes, we don't want to have that conversation. All right, John, if you go ahead and speak.
Well, okay, so you've got 22 books out already. I'm curious, why are you looking for a publisher now if you have successful self-publishing?
Because I'm in the mystery genre, and this is a completely different genre, and I did transverse into paranormal thriller, and my readers didn't follow.
Okay.
So this is like starting over. I should also add, I've never missed a pre-order deadline by Amazon, so I haven't been booted by them.
Nice. Blake?
With your other books, have you finished with those other books, or how much time would you
No,
dedicate to your new series?
I'm a deadline person, so I will make whatever time I need to hit both sets of books.
Are you a full-time writer?
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, thank you. Feel free to use the information. You get a hold of Robin. You can mention that you pitched to us up here, and we appreciate and ask you, please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Your turn.
You got this, Bill.
You got this.
Oh, this room is full. Hi, I'm Jeline Dolbear, and I would like to present to you Splintered Magic, a series that turns cozy urban fantasy on its head. Bridget Donovan is 42 and turning her life around after a messy divorce. She thought restoring her family mansion would bring her peace. Instead, she discovers she's the great-granddaughter of a Fey Lord. Where's her Fey magic? Her father and grandmother took it from her as a child and splintered it into 13 pieces of jewelry. Only they forgot one thing, to tell her about it before they died. Luckily, they left her a protector. What she believes is a fluffy ragdoll cat is really a 200-year-old shape-shifting splinter cat, and when he isn't being totally ridiculous, he's a cold-blooded killing machine. This is useful when strange creatures arrive to kill her for her unclaimed magic, and the local witch coven succeeds in killing her werewolf contractor before the house is finished. Will she find all of her magic before the witches do? Will she and her few allies, a splinter cat, a griffin, and a werewolf pack, be enough to stop the coven if she doesn't? Will she ever finish the house?
Very nice. I'm going to allow Blake to go first, so in case I steal his thunder.
I thought that was a great pitch about the story. Brilliant, but I would love to know about the author.
Well, I have, on Saturday I'll have 6 published books in a more hard U.S. Series based in Alaska. So that's about me, and I am not a full-time author yet. I am a special education teacher.
Very nice. Congratulations.
So you mentioned the 13 pieces of jewelry. Is this all contained in the first book, or is this a 13-book series featuring each piece, or?
No, it's a planned 3-series book where she'll find all of her magic in the first 3. However, the series can be expanded as long as you want because she's turning her house into a supernatural bed and breakfast. So we have that.
Do you have a little bit? Do you feeling because the cat is a killer?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's not going to be cozy.
It's not cozy.
Okay. No, that's interesting. I mean, I really like the fact that when you had the beginning of the blurb, or what I'll call the blurb, you had a hook in the very beginning. I do like paranormal creatures, and I like something a little bit different. I love snark. So I think that, for me personally, I enjoy reading a story with a really snarky character.
Mm-hmm.
That you have 6 books under your belt already. We're not having to teach you the beginning, but I'm going to take, I don't remember if it was John or Blake who asked earlier, so why a publisher?
Well, this is my first foray into indie publishing. My first series is a little nichey because it's only based on Alaskan folklore, and so I'm gonna have a hard time finding an audience. and I figure why put all my eggs in one basket if I can expand?
Okay.
So that was
Yeah,
my thought.
that's very much, okay. You also, I mean, all of them, but you have our contact information.
Yes.
And gentlemen, y'all are welcome to ask, offer, whatever as things go on, but please reach out to us. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to allow y'all, all of you that we're interviewing right now, to come back at us. So whatever time we have left after we do this, get your questions ready. Ask the publisher. Hello.
Hi, my name is Barbara West. I love fantasy, but reading a little too much gritty, dark urban fantasy inspired Death in Daylight, a feel-good, action-packed cross between Charmed and the Golden Girls. Delilah Cunningham is a sassy Southern timer who just happens to be a vampire. She's finally been accepted into the exclusive Winter Park paranormal community in sunny Central Florida and is excited for a life of semi-leisure, the perfect life for a lady such as herself. Her new magical flower and gift shop is consuming all of her attention when she is suddenly violently attacked by a cursed wisteria vine. Overnight, she becomes both the latest victim in a string of magical robberies and the most likely suspect. All the clues really point to her wicked warlock ex-lover, but he was dead and buried last she checked. She'll need to finally deal with that skeleton in her closet so she doesn't lose her new life and her afterlife too. Currently, it's outlined. I'm estimating it'll be about 70,000 words, the first book in a series that would appeal to anyone who likes Annette Marie's Guild Hunter series or fans of Alona Andrews' work.
Very nice. I'll go first. Actually, no, it's your turn to go
I
first.
can go first. So, will this be your first work, or are you previously
I
published?
am not previously published. I've written some before, but never with the intention of publishing. It was just for fun, creative release. So this will be my first.
Well, what inspired you to take this step?
I was doing, I graduated with a degree in criminal justice, and I was doing the whole, you have to have a safe job thing. And then with COVID and everything, I was like, no, I want to live my life. I want to enjoy doing what I want to do, and this is writing. So.
Preach.
Welcome to the 10-step program.
It's definitely just like jumping off a cliff.
Absolutely. How fast do you write?
It varies. I do have a day job, but if I have a deadline, I can definitely pump out like 2,000 to 3,000 words a day.
5 days, 7 days, 5 days?
As many days a week as it takes.
I see a bunch of us up here going, oh, wow.
If that was full
John,
time, I could.
do you have any questions?
I'll add it to.
Blake?
So how would you feel about your first 3 chapters being PDF'd over and having a beta team read them and a decision made off that?
I would send them over tomorrow.
3,000 words a day. So,
Brilliant.
any other questions, Blake?
So this is the first in the series.
Yes.
I'll tell you. And where would you plan it to go from there?
I would like it to be a perpetual series, the one that you just keep adding in new characters and new ways for her to grow. She was very stilted in her education as a vampire, so she's learning essentially how to be a vampire and what that means for her. So.
My only one question, just because I love vampires.
Yes.
A vampire in Florida.
Yes. So I'm taking from the original lore where they didn't have a problem going in the daylight, but her ex told her they did.
Right.
So he essentially kept her, like in the dark as like his side chick.
And they don't go diamond.
Side chick.
No.
Sorry about that.
Don't go there, Blake. Don't go there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no. I want to congratulate you as the first individual up here so far who hasn't finished the book and hasn't published the book. Your presentation related to what it is about the engagement of the actual characters themselves, the fact that you left a bunch of things hanging. Is the ex-husband or ex-boyfriend dead? I need to know. You know, and then finding out or calling him a skeleton in the closet, my brain goes, oh, that is so cute. I thought you did amazing.
Yes.
So congratulations. Excellent.
Hello.
Hello.
Should I start?
Yes.
I'm Marie Fox, an entrepreneur with 15 years experience and a 0 to 7 figure company under my belt.
Stop. I don't know how many books she has, but what she's already told me is she understands what to do with business, what that means professionally, and the other aspects of what's going on. She's going to be someone who's going to be business-minded, which for our company is really relevant because our company was built on a business-minded individual. So I just want to do that. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're cool. I mean, it boosts me up, so. All right.
Okay.
My debut urban fantasy series is out through Blackstone, and it came out last year and has thousands of reviews averaging 4.4 stars. My new series is Supernatural meets Justified in the Appalachian Mountains. Cryptid Control Officer Wade Rhodes crashes firmly into his heart's desire, an unidentified, saw-toothed 500-pound beast with the heart of a lapdog. The same evening, his feral, roughed-up stepbrother comes to town with a "nice to meet you" and a plea for help, launching Wade onto a path of blood and secrets in his sleepy hometown, where humans are the real monsters. This series was developed with Book Talk and urban fantasy Facebook group readers in mind, who are begging for a more versatile, vulnerable side of shifters. The result is a character-driven, dynamic, action-packed series that will have readers turning pages from book 1 all the way through the 5 planned books. The first book is complete, professionally edited at 85,000 words and prepared to be customized to your brand. The second book is with beta readers. The series has potential for additional arcs and spin-offs. Thank you.
Oh, no. And Facebook people in mind. I'm just going to take some notes here, folks. That was really, really impressive. You gave us a lot of the information. You gave us the business background. You told us how many books that you had planned on, whether or not you saw an arc going forward. The compelling aspects of it really drew me in personally. You know, I'd love to know more as well. As I mentioned to a fair amount of people who were here before, I handle the collaboration side of LMBPN, which means that someone's going to work directly with me. So from a publishing side, and this is the publishing area, right? That would be Robin Cutler, the short lady you see with the white hair. She is around. I've given everybody up here her direct contact information because she was supposed to be effing here. And I will remind her of that. But in that, you know, please, from our standpoint, all of you, y'all are hitting it out of the park. Honestly, you know, congratulations.
So you said you have a 6-book series out already, right?
I have a 4-book series out already. This one is 5 planned books.
Why? So and you did that with Blackstone, right?
The audio is Blackstone.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're actually already successful. Why are you looking for a publisher when it sounds like you pretty much got it in the bag?
Well, so one of the things that I have learned from my previous business experience is that different collaborations bring different benefits. And I truly see the author-publisher relationship as a collaboration. And I'm really interested in exploring additional avenues and seeing how we can help each other out.
Okay. We may have more questions, but I want you to take this.
I'm blown out of water with that one. That was really good.
So let me ask you the question. They're all strong.
They're all strong.
What about this one affected you personally? We're all different up here, so we're all going to be affected by different things.
We're definitely all affected by different things, and that was in a very incredibly business-minded and obviously business experienced pitch. I don't normally go for that kind of pitch. I normally go for somebody maybe slightly shyer, a little bit nervous. Maybe a character of an author that you can invest in because they're lovable. But that was really, really good. And I think
one of the things that really resonated with me was your collaborative approach to working with a publisher.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with the small press, it's very much a two-way street. That's why I wanted to make sure I got Rob's card.
And that's a massive thing for anybody that wants to pitch to a publisher, is going to a publisher, wanting to work with them and taking advice from the publisher, not going to a publisher and thinking, I don't really want to do that. Or, because that's just alarm bell straight away. So yeah, anybody, even in the pitch, wanting to work with a publisher and as a two-way street is a great way to sell it.
So this is a good point to actually mention how the differences between traditional publishing and indie publishing. I'm going to ask these guys to answer this question as well. On the indie side, for LMBPN, when you come in and you work with us, you actually have a team. They talk about this, but I'll tell you, if you're going to work on your cover, that's Kelly. The publisher side, Robin obviously is directing everything, but your team includes Kelly O'Donnell on covers. It includes David Beers and his team on marketing. It includes Tracy on editing and her team of what's going on. We have alpha readers, JIT readers. If you need help in the process of it, then you're pulling in. We have another resource to help you talk through story, through magic systems. I mean, there's a plethora of people who are there. Some authors, quite frankly, are like, you know what, I got that out. Here's the book, please edit it and let me know when it comes out. All the way to authors who are like, all right, so let me see back what you do, because I want to, every single edit, I want to see what they are. I'd like to confirm them, deny them. And you'll get pushback if you try to deny something that's like, yeah, that's not going to work. And it's not from a standpoint of story, it could be because that's not actually good English. Now, we in LMBPN, we understand if it's within the quote marks, that's how somebody talks. But outside of that, there's a certain level that the expectation is there. But that team is going to be there, and we work separately with different authors depending on how they like to work. But the comment related to indie publishers, those of us who've kind of grown up this way, we operate our businesses separately and differently than the more traditional, like, here's a spreadsheet, how many social followers do they have, what's going on here. We do take, like Blake was talking, individuals who are beginning, all the way to well-handled individuals. So we have all of them in our organization, but we have over 50, 60 authors. So that's a little bit of difference, but I'm going to go ahead and let Blake talk, and then I'm going to ask John to kind of speak to that as well. How do you work?
Yeah, very, very similar way, not as many authors. We're a lot smaller, so we're 14, but obviously expanding as those 14, and not all of them succeed. And it's a two-way street. We also don't like to tie authors down to long contracts in case it doesn't work.
What's your contract look like? Not specifics, just in general.
We all, as indie publishers ourselves, we always are of the opinion we would never sign for publishers. So if we were to sign for publishers, what would it be like? So we try to be the publishers that we would sign for. So it's all about fairness and not trying to take too much, and actually just trying to grow an author and make them successful. And it's a very small business, but again, everybody who signs for us, they will meet the team, and that team doesn't change. We don't have a turnover rate yet of staff, so it's all in-house home field.
Can I also add to that, only because I'm his partner in crime? We also cater our contracts very differently depending on where that author is as well, with the room to kind of grow themselves. So it depends on where they are in their publishing career. Sorry.
What?
I thought I was at 115. I'm sorry.
All right,
Sorry,
starting back at the beginning.
You're up, Alec.
So, continue.
So obviously, our contracts look a little bit different for each individual. If somebody's coming along and they've already got 15 books and they're already established, and we know we don't have to we don't have to put so much of our, if they're happy with the covers, if they're happy with the editing, and it's just go. It's the percentages will change and the
very
contracts will
bespoke.
change. It's
Yeah,
very
very
bespoke,
bespoke.
exactly the word I was
And
looking
the good
for.
thing is if somebody starts off quite small and they grow quite fast, the contract grows with them, so we don't hold people back.
Mhm.
So they've always got earning potential.
So it's more of an incentive for them to keep writing and
Okay.
keep building on their world, and yeah, so that's the way
Okay.
we.
And then, just so you catch up real quick, but what we're talking about right now is indie publishers. In broader terms, what do the contracts look like? What, for new authors that are coming in, what are the limitations? What are your expectations? So I'm going to ask John to talk for CKH, and then we'll go to you.
Okay. So for CKP, Chris Cannon Publishing, we like to say that we're a family. We're a very small outfit. We have 7 imprints, but only about 9 people, including editors, Chris, Rob Howell, who's the line publisher for fantasy, urban fantasy, which shows you that we want to put an emphasis on growing that section of the business because we have a dedicated line publisher for that. But like I said, it's a very collaborative experience. So the authors have to be able to also pull their own weight. You don't want someone that will just come in and say, well, here's the manuscript, I'm done. And you spoke to that, having a successful series, you already know how to market yourself. You have a track record of performance, a track record of productivity, and it sounds like you have more realistic expectations in the business. As far as contracts go, the basic one is 2 years, and then it's up to you after that. It always goes back to the author. It's nothing that locks you in after that. So we have some authors who it turns out not to be a good business fit. They take their series back and they go their own way, no hard feelings. Not everyone succeeds. Not everyone can thrive in the same dynamic.
Yeah,
But
makes a lot of sense.
we like to take we'd like for you to take 2 years to figure it out with us.
Very cool. Thank you.
Brett, real quick, would you give us a little bit of an overview of your company first,
Yeah.
and then answer the question?
Sorry for being late. I'm on 115 too, so the 15s confused me. So I co-run Aethon Books. So like that, we're a small press. We have a smaller team. We do put out around 200 books a year. So we're fairly
Mind you,
bigger.
that's more than twice what a typical mid-tier publisher does, but sure, small.
small team. Small team. So we are really hands-on with everything. And again, we're full service publishers, so we pay for everything. We do have authors who, again, we do expect that they're just going to give us a manuscript. We do everything, or there's authors that are going to do a lot. So all of our deals, contract-wise, tend to be very custom. Per the author, per what they need in life. If there's author needs in advance, we can work that out. So we do have basically custom deals with almost everyone. So it's hard to say what our standard is. Our terms tend to be pretty author friendly just because I've worked with some pretty rough small presses. Even like vanity presses when I was 16 and saw what those bad terms look like and how they lock you in. So we tend to keep everything pretty author friendly, but yeah, it is fairly custom to the project, the genre, the author, if they're new, if they're old, so it's hard to give specifics. But yeah, always a contract should have a way out of a term. Now again, you can always ask a publisher to get out, but you want something in that contract that allows for a termination. You don't want to, I've seen contracts where if the book sells 1 copy a year, you're stuck forever. So that's just sort of the stuff to be on the lookout for term-wise. Otherwise, royalties, everything, it's going to vary publisher to publisher. You just have to evaluate what they're bringing to the table.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. That was awesome. You got this.
Yep.
Okay. I'm O'Kara. I've written over a dozen novels plus many novellas and short stories using my first million words to level up on craft through classes and good editors. I've also seen some bad ones. I'm pitching Hermione Granger meets Poison Ivy. 20-something Dana Ackerman doesn't love her CSR job, But managing the cell phone call center pays the bills, and she just bought her first house. But her new neighbor has one of those crowing chickens, a nosy rooster chicken, that seems to be stalking her, and Dana has no idea why. Until the one-eyed bird knocks on the door, introduces himself as Rooster Cogsburned, and invites himself in for whiskey and scratch cream. Rooster tells Dana she's the green magic wizard he's been looking for, and Dana's been summoned to the urban greenhouse located in downtown Fort Worth to learn how to use her magical abilities. Then the obnoxious cock goes on to accuse Dana of blooming late, and guess what, Buttercup? Rooster is Dana's brand new feathered familiar. Titled Ag and Alchemy, Book 1 is 2 parts Wizard Quest in the Modern World and 1 part Lunatic Farmer. Green Magic will be a 5-book series, 60 or 65,000 words apiece, each one proving the best magic comes from good dirt. The series is in the concept phase and the word count is negotiable. Related, I have asshole chickens, so I can write what I know. And the target audience is urban fantasy readers interested in wallflower turned badass stories. So
Very nice. Very nice. I will make a comment before I'll ask Rhett to go first, and that is I have lived near Fort Worth, so I find that quite interesting. Rhett?
We're based out of Fort Worth. Steve is. I'm not there, but that's funny. Honestly, so we don't do that much urban fantasy, but that, as far as a pitch and nailing a character and covering all the bases, that's what, when you word count, book count, comedy, like I thought there's nothing really I would change there.
So if she moved this to a lit RPG, asshole chicken?
Science fiction, chicken, and anything, we just don't really do urban, but yeah, I mean, as far as pitches go, and I've seen pitches given to agents and stuff, that was solid.
Very, very good. Thank you very much. Blake?
I too have asshole chickens. I can relate to that, right? Cool.
People have chickens here.
It's a thing. It's a niche market. Yeah, a niche market.
they're very marketable. Chickens, everybody loves chickens.
All hates them.
I think you cover quite a lot of areas there in the pitch. I'd probably like to hear a little bit more about you as an author and how much time you would want to be dedicated to this and how much free time you have if you're not in full-time work or if you are in full-time work to pursue it.
You're asking now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a deadline, because I'm a deadliner like most of us, right? I can do 10K in a day, but I also ghostwrite and stuff on the side. So, I mean, I've told a story from beginning to end multiple times.
How many books have you ghostwritten?
I can't say.
I mean, a sheer quantity? I don't know which ones. I know that's under engineering.
Yeah, I have written probably 5 at this point. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
that are not mine.
And you said you're in the concept phase?
I'm in the concept phase, yes.
If someone was to say, okay, go, how long would it take you to finish the first book?
I would probably buy several shots of espresso and have it to you in the morning.
I don't know, but I almost want to put it down just to go, you know what?
It's only 6K though. 3 chapters is 2K. Anyway, sorry.
No.
I don't know. If you can't get it done by morning, if it's done by 12, I might be interested.
I'll be on an
That would be
airplane.
impressive.
No. So 5 books at the moment. And so I just want to ask, could you move that to 6? The reason I ask this is we've personally found when we do box sets, which is usually a great way to make up the money you lost on the single ones, it's usually 6 that it starts. That it starts hitting better, 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. But that would be something as a publisher we might ask and go, you know what, can you slide it to 6 by perchance without messing up what's going on? Now, kind of meant to mention that as well.
So there's goats. There's all kinds of things that you can add. All kinds of things. So yes.
Okay, and when you were writing that for this whole situation that's going on right now, what were your thoughts and your worries?
My thoughts and worries? So I had a beer with lunch, so I was worried about standing right here.
Chair.
Everybody else
So that was my biggest worry, actually.
Okay, yeah, because everyone here is sounding really poised, really full, understanding what they want to say. So you should have seen them before. They're like, okay, we can do this, we can do this. I'm starting to stress out. And yet they've all been really good. Oh, his fault. Got it.
It's his fault, yeah.
I didn't buy you the beer. Get out of my face.
All right, we have 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 53 seconds. So thank you very much. Please reach out to Robin. I have the last one, and I'll try to answer any questions that we have.
Okay.
Go for it.
My name is Sam Linton. I am a thriller writer with 5 books published. My story is The Exorcist meets Lethal Weapon. It is about a detective who's burned out, and he's got a ton of interpersonal turmoil that he's been struggling with, and he gets called to the most graphic and grotesque crime scene that he's ever experienced. He wants nothing to do with anything supernatural because he used to be a pastor, and now he's faced with this crime that has this evil element. The only person that has any insight about what is going on is his handicapped friend who used to work at the church with him. The only problem is he is the most annoying person on the planet. But he also holds the key to what's really going on the underside of this story. Together, they're going to team up, and they're going to face an underworld that is darker and more evil than anything they could have imagined. And the only way that they can find the solution is to stick together and meet up with a feisty, no-nonsense underworld queen whose motives are just as uncertain as the characters' fates themselves. The last thing is, regardless of whether I team up with a publisher, I'm going to write this book because the main character, the side character, Lee, he is a characterization of my brother that passed away in 2020 of complications from cancer. So I wrote this concept into existence thinking about him, and I read a quote that said, "Loved ones of writers can never really die."
Question. First question, how fast do you write a week?
I'm a deadline writer, so I'm either writing like fiercely or I'm not writing, but I finished a 60,000 word manuscript for a Dean Wesley Smith challenge in 21 days. And I have a big full-time job and another side job, and I did that with that going on, so I'm pretty good about deadline stuff. So I would say 2 months for a full manuscript.
So is this a standalone book or a series or a book that could launch a series?
It would definitely be a book that could launch a series. I would say it's episodic, almost like the show Evil. I don't know if you've seen that NBC show. Kind of like that, where it's like a new case each book, so it would be in that realm.
Okay. Blake?
Excellent. Where can you sign?
Well, this wasn't honestly inside your typical.
No, I know.
But as a publisher, when you've been listening to a bunch of different people pitch, what do you think?
I'll come at this from like an agent point of view because I work with them a lot. It was honestly good. I would be a little more specific because the character descriptions are pretty tropey. I mean, it's the things that in every book those people are.
Yeah, the things that are going to sell millions of dollars worth of copies. That's what yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like, I think you could be a little less vague with the specifics of the story and the characters, because everything's already there. It's just filling in a little more.
Yeah.
So that's all I would say, just to give them a little more unique of a feel as characters versus just, you know, the tropes of a detective or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's all.
One of the things I liked, obviously your energy, the fact that you were able to understand what it was right away, so you've obviously practiced it or you've been thinking about it for a long while.
Yeah, a long time.
Okay, so those things really come across. Whenever, oftentimes when we get pitched, you encounter individuals who are so caught up in their story that they go on and on, and you're just like, well, that was lunch, now supper. And so as publishers, we need you to get down to the crux. What are the things that are going on? We understand tropes. We understand what's going on. If we hear that you're hitting just the most, basically a regurgitation of the most popular Shirley book at the moment, we're gonna go, we have that. or in his case, he has that, right? So we need you to actually look at that. Yes, we understand that your stories are something that are incredibly emotionally important to you, but we're putting our thinking cap on. Many of us up here are authors or have been authors, but we need to think about all of that. That's why we're asking, what is your speed? Because if you're in today's society, with today's expectations of when those books come out, it's nothing like it used to be. It's not a book a year typically, for what we know. I mean, I don't know if either of you guys can do a book a year and be good.
No.
I can't. So, be aware of that. Now, we might be able to encourage something, or we might be able to say, hey, if you got one book and you're a little bit slower, are you okay if we stick them on the shelf and then pull them out later, right? And then we'll release it quicker that way. Once you have enough books out, you can get a little bit longer in between them. But it's not in the beginning. We typically need them to go faster. Related to some of the other parts, so we're looking a little bit about your history.
Yeah.
Right? And so I felt like that was a little bit light, and you could have enhanced that a little bit for me.
Sure.
But the rest of that, real solid. And obviously it worked.
Yeah.
So
Lethal
congratulations.
Weapon.
Yeah.
So is it one word that really piqued you?
Yeah, it's Exorcist Lethal Weapon.
So Lethal Weapon and chickens.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, it would be like if you're
No,
a fan.
so here's the thing. You sold them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
We only have about 3.5 minutes at the moment. Gentlemen, do you have anything that you'd like to say in general related to anyone pitches you? What are the things that you like? What are the things you don't like? And I'm just going to ask for one at a time, and then I'm just going to go back and forth. Blake.
I like somebody I can connect with and love as a person. I like the character of the author. And obviously everything else has got to match up, but if I feel like I'm being sold to by car salesman, I just switch off. I'm not interested in a hard sell. So people can be nervous, don't have to be 100% polished, but you just got to be passionate and a likable character.
All right.
I like it when they have a solid understanding of what they're bringing to the table and what they need from a publisher.
Okay. And what if they come in but they don't know? Like they're truly clueless and go, well, I've been to 20 books and I could go indie, but I could go publisher, and I hear there's all these horrible whatevers.
What I would recommend is maybe they should do some short stories. And maybe not start with a novel.
Okay.
And get some experience. I mean, that's how I started, was with short stories. And then, that's how I learned to work with editors, work with a publisher.
Okay.
And then so then you can do that, have experience. Because one of the things I liked is a lot of people said, my book, I expect it to be X number of words long, or I expect this to be an X book series. They already understood the framework. And you don't have that if you haven't finished it yet.
Okay, so related to word count and why that's important, obviously particular genres have certain word counts, but word counts also depend on how much it costs us to edit it. Also, it tells us how much on the audio side we might be able to get, because the audio companies are going to be paying more for longer audio. They're going to have a minimum of 8 hours, which is approximately 72,000 words. There could be some genres that go less than that, but that would be very genre specific, or some genres that go a lot higher than that. So we need to understand, and we're going to know how many words in a particular genre when you pitch us if we're familiar with that genre. So that's why that's important.
Yeah, so I'll say something a little different because it's something we see a ton. Obviously, like, have a good pitch, kind of act, but like a normal person and everything. Like, that's what any query should have. Format it, and your submission, everything. The minute I get a block of text this big, it's an auto delete because you can't see it. Your manuscript too, if you're going to send the first 50 pages, have paragraph, make it look like how a book looks instead of just sending it. Like, do that research, because that's, I mean, it's an auto reject because it just, like, how are you going to work with someone who sent us basically a huge block of text? So, like, look at query letter examples and everything. Don't just wing it, because it should be short and succinct and look nice and look readable with easy lines to go to. The same for that first, whatever, if it's a full manuscript, cool, but usually it's like the first 3 chapters or something in a pitch. So really, really study what those things look like and what books look like, because you want, like, formatting, sure, will do it, but it also says something about the book if it's coming in 2-page long paragraphs.
Good. All All right, thank you very much. 18 seconds. Everyone here, please understand, these individuals who went and pitched and they put themselves up here, they have a direct contact with Robin Cutler. For the rest of you, if you go to the LMBPN website, you will not typically find how do I get published. If you'll go to the very bottom of the page, on the far left-hand side, there will be a little bitty link. Check it out. Y'all have a good day.